Crossing Brooklyn Ferry. Flood tide below me, I watch you face to face. Clouds of the west, sun there half an hour high, I see you also face to face. Crowds of men and women attired in the usual costumes, how curious you are to me. On the ferry boats, the hundreds and hundreds that cross, returning home, are more curious to me than you suppose. The impalpable sustenance of me from all things, at all hours of the day, the simple, compact, well-joined scheme, myself disintegrated, every one disintegrated, yet part of the scheme. The similitudes of the past and those of the future, the glories strung like beads on my smallest sights and hearings, on the walk, in the street, and the passage over the river. The current rushing so swiftly and the swimming with me so far away. The others that are to follow me, the ties between me and them. The certainty of others, the life, love, sight, and hearing of others. Others will enter the gates of the ferry and cross from shore to shore. Others will watch the run of the flood tide. Others will see the shipping of Manhattan north and west, and the heights of Brooklyn to the south and east. Others will see the islands large and small, 50 years hence. Others will see them as they cross the sun in half an hour high, 100 years hence, or however many 100 years hence. Others will see them, will enjoy the sunset, the pouring in of the flood tide, and the falling back to sea of the ebb tide. It avails not, neither time or place. Distance avails not. I am with you, you men and women of a generation, or ever so many generations hence. I project myself. Also, I return. I am with you, and know how it is. Just as you feel when you look on the river and sky, so I felt. Just as any one of you in a living crowd, I was one of a living crowd. Just as you are refreshed by the gladness of the river and the bright flow, I was refreshed. Just as you stand and lean on the rail, yet hurry with the swift current, I stood, yet was hurried. Just as you look on the numberless masts of ships and the thick-stemmed pipes of steamboats, I looked. I, too many and many a time, crossed the river, the sun half an hour high. I watched the 12th month seagulls. I saw them high in the air, floating with the motionless wings, oscillating their bodies. I saw how the glistening yellow lit up the parts of their bodies, and left the rest in strong shadow. I saw the slow wheeling circles and the gradual edging towards the south. I too saw the reflection of the summer sky in the water, had my eyes dazzled by the shimmering track of beams, looked at the fine centrifugal spokes of light around the shape of my head in the sunlit water, looked on the haze on the hills, southward and southwestward, looked on the vapor as it flew in fleeces tinged with violet, looked toward the lower bay to notice the arriving ships, saw their approach, saw aboard those that were near me, saw the white sails of the schooners and sloops, saw the ships at anchor, the sailors at work in the rigging or out astride the spars, round masts, the swinging motion of the hulls, the slender serpentine pennants, the large and small steamers in motion, the pilots in their pilot houses, the white wake left by the passage, the quick, tremulous whirl of the wheels, the flags of all nations, the falling of them at sunset, the scalloped edge waves in the twilight, the ladled cups, the frolicsome crests and glistening, the stretch afar growing dimmer and dimmer, the gray walls of the granite storehouses by the docks, on the river the shadowy group, the big steam tug closely flanked on each side by the barges, the hayboat, the belated lighter. On the neighboring shore the fires from the foundry chimneys burning high and glaring into the night, casting their flicker of black, contrasted with wild red and yellow light, over the tops of houses and down into the clefts of streets. These and all else were to me as they are to you. I project myself a moment to tell you. Also I return. I loved well those cities. I loved well the stately and rapid river. The men and women I saw were all near to me. Others the same, others who look back on me, because I looked forward to them. The time will come, though. I stop here today and tonight. What is it, then, between us? What is the count of the scores or hundreds of years between us? Whatever it is, it avails not. Distance avails not, and place avails not. I too lived in Brooklyn. Of ample hills was mine. I too walked the streets of Manhattan Island and bathed in the waters around it. I too felt the curious, abrupt questioning stir within me. In the day, among crowds of people, sometimes they came upon me. In my walks home late at night or as I lay in bed, they came upon me. I too have struck from the float forever held in solution. That I knew was of my body, and what I should be, I knew was of my body. It is not upon you alone the dark patches of fall, the dark through patches upon me also. The best I had done seemed to blank me and suspicious. My great thoughts, as I supposed them, were they not in reality meager?